Hello, my name is Jeff. I wanted to make an introduction video for the vinyl community on YouTube. It's been about, I'd say, a year since I got back into collecting vinyl, buying another turntable, getting it all set up, and during that process, just checking out YouTube, and I was actually amazed to see that there was this whole community online that shared the same passions and the same interests, exchanged exchanged product, talked about product and their buying habits, and it really got me inspired to look at the way that I buy and look at the way that I collect and store and organize. But towards the end of the year, I kind of felt like I wanted to get more involved and make a video of my own. So I signed up with YouTube, and I believe this is my second video. The first video I uploaded was just like a 1-minute sampling of one of the records I was playing on my turntable. If this works out and I see that people are checking it out and enjoying my videos, I'll definitely post more. A little bit of a background: I'm from Montreal. Been listening to music since I was 5 years old. The earliest memories I have is my mom singing to her records, everything from the Beatles to Neil Diamond, Carole King, Neil Young. The list goes on, and I think it was during this time that I fell in love with songs. I fell in love with harmonies and melodies and just music. And my first record I got when I was 5 years old was a Kiss album. It was Kiss Alive from Sam the Record Band here in Montreal. I remember my parents giving it to me in the bag, and I would just play that thing inside and out, and I literally wore it out. And then as I got older, obviously friends on the streets, you know, where I grew up, they had older brothers that collected records, and you know, we'd sneak into their bedrooms when they weren't around, and they would have everything from, you know, Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and Kiss and all these great bands, and Judas Priest. So that was really the beginnings of my introduction to hard rock, heavy metal. And then you know, started slowly asking for these albums, you know, on my own, asking my mom, you know, for them for whatever occasions might come up, birthdays, Christmas, and then I started getting my own collection going. And then I had quite a collection, and then, you know, as the years went on, I ended up selling a lot of it, which I really regret now, because I had some really nice pieces, all original prints, pressings, and of course did what most people did back then, got rid of their records and got into CDs. And although I still have a vast CD collection today, it was about a year ago that I said, you know what, I really miss listening to vinyl. I really miss the whole interactive part of buying a record and caring for it and putting it on the turntable and listening to it, as opposed to a CD, which you kind of just pop into a player and kind of forget about it. And there's, you know, the packaging is small. And I mean, I grew up in an era where I would open up a gatefold, like Kiss Alive 2 comes to mind, and just stare at that photo for what seemed like hours as the record played, and I would just spin it over and over again. And especially in today's type of culture, where the whole, you know, downloading on the internet MP3, you just get further and further and further away from that feeling. And it might be great for people growing up in today's culture with the whole MP3 and downloading music, but from someone who actually grew up in an era where you get a record and you take off the cellophane and pull out the inner sleeve and look at everything. You know, sometimes there were posters inside, and you're spinning the record, and there was so much interaction involved with listening to music. I kind of missed that, so I wanted to get back to it. So I think I've babbled on long enough about that stuff. I thought I would also throw in a little section of the latest records that I found during the holidays, and some of my acquisitions. This is some of my collection behind me. It's a mix of records. The CDs up here in these boxes These hold, I believe, 125 CDs. I want to do a video on storage, so I'll actually get more into detail of what I started doing with these boxes, because I was just running out of room in other shelves and other sections of the house with these CDs. They take up so much space. So I thought I would get going and introducing some of my recent finds, ones I'm really excited about, and then in other videos I'll go through and show some other stuff as well. I am a huge Kiss fan. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I've been a Kiss fan since I was 5 years old. I saw them for the first time when I was 9 at the Montreal Forum on the Creatures of the Night tour, and it was their last tour with Makeup, and I was just totally blown away, and ever since that day I've just been a huge fan. This is one of my all-time favorite records, Hotter Than Hell. This was their second album. This is a first US pressing. Just take it out and show you that it's got the blue Bogart label. Love this album, especially when you start getting into CDs, you realize just how different it sounded. When you play a CD of a re-release of someone who grew up listening to records, they just didn't sound right. There was something that was just lacking in the original sound. And this is an album that was a prime example of that. The CD doesn't sound anywhere near as good as the vinyl, albeit the production itself isn't the greatest, but for me, the real way of hearing this album is on vinyl, and the packaging is so wicked too. I mean, this is just a really amazing cover. So I was actually very happy to get this. For a first blue label. Usually in the record bins, there's a lot of the Camel labels and the Casablanca Filmworks label, kind of like the tan label. The next one is Metallica's Kill 'Em All. This one, this was high on my list. When I started getting back into collecting vinyls, there was like at least 10 records that came into my mind that I said, I know I already own it on CD. I had previously owned this pressing on vinyl, but it was part of a batch that I had sold when I was a student and needing money, and I regretted it. And I was able to find this pressing. It is Kill 'Em All on the Canadian Banzai label, which was a small label operated outside of the US here in Montreal, Canada. And it's really cool. The sound is amazing. Let's see. It's got the Banzai Samurai label, and this is actually for those of you that know a little bit about Banzai, the first pressings were white labels, and those were originally the labels that I had when I was growing up. It was Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and this was a white label. And I had no idea that there was a black label, and it turns out that the black label was a second pressing of this album, and so I was quite amazed. I have a Ride the Lightning, which I'll show in a later video. That is a white label. So when I pulled this out and saw it was black, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And it sounds awesome. Love this. This is another one to me that, you know, when the CDs came out, I think Elektra did a remastering of it, and it just sounded different. I don't find the bass as prominent on the CD version. I mean, I've only heard the Elektra Canadian pressing, but the record just sounds incredible. Another record that was high on my list to buy back was this album. This is Motley Crue's Too Fast for Love. This is the Leather Records mix. For those of you who are not as familiar with Motley Crue, their first album pretty much came in 2 variations. The first one being the Leather Records version. Before they were signed to Elektra, they opted to release the album on their own label, Leather Records. The mix of the album is a little bit different. Some songs are drastically different. The original having beginnings of songs or endings of songs that didn't end up, or they got removed when Elektra remixed. When it was remixed and reissued on the Elektra label, some of the songs sounded different. The mix was a little bit more, well, some would argue more rough. Others would argue that it was a little bit more smoothed over. And also a track was completely removed. Stick to Your Guns, which is on the original pressing, was removed on the Elektra. Other differences is the cover itself. The original pressing has a smaller Motley Crue logo here, and on the Elektra version it's bigger up in here, Motley Crue. And this is a first Canadian pressing. Very, very, very cool. It even has the insert, which I had never seen before. It's pretty cool that someone kept this. And I was just so happy to find it, you know. It says Elektra on it, but in Canada they released the version that was the Leather Records because they were touring Canada at the time and they wanted product in the stores. So they just released the original raw mix. I think it was available for like 2 or 3 months, and then they ended up removing it and replacing it with the version that we commonly know as today. So I was very, very happy, and it's in great condition. Very, very, very happy to find this. Moving on. The next one is a band that I'm a really big fan of, Black Sabbath. This is their first album, self-titled. Now I've owned this album. I never owned it on vinyl, but I've had various CD versions of the album, and I've always enjoyed them. I think right now I have 3 different CD versions of this album. And when I started getting back into vinyl, you know, reading the blogs and going onto message boards to get some information, there was a pressing that kind of stuck out and seemed very interesting to me, which was a Australian Fontana pressing on the Fontana label, and it's not really all that spoken about on the internet, but from what I was able to gather from various collectors who had this pressing, they said it sounded fantastic. Put up against a UK vertical swirl, it sounded better than that. It was just the version to have. So I spent a couple of hours on the internet hunting one down, and I found one, and it is mind-blowing. It's awesome. It's the best I've ever heard this album. And then when I started reading the history on the Fontana label, realizing how rare this is a first Fontana press. The label is a blue and silver Australian label, and actually if you see here, I don't know if you can see that, that's the Fontana logo. And it's not the gatefold that most people would have seen on this album. It's a single jacket, laminated and incredibly thin. I've never held a record jacket that's this thin. So thin that I ended up taking some cardboard that I had gotten in one particular shipment and put it in with the outer sleeve to kind of give it a little bit more protection and to ensure that it wouldn't crease or bend, and also to protect the record, because I just cannot believe how thin this jacket is. This was the first pressing. The second pressing was the gatefold. The label changed a little bit, still blue and silver, but some of the information, the written text, there was less of it. It's still a very hard record to find. The third press, all this was changed to the vertical swirl logo, and the label on the actual record was the vertical black and white swirl. So I just thought, wow, what a great find. You know, it sounds amazing, and it's rare, and just the uniqueness of having the Fontana logo. And I had read online, I don't know how accurate this is, but I had read online that the full debut album release in Australia happened first. It actually happened something like a month or 2 before the album was released on the UK Vertigo Swirl label. So I thought that was pretty unique to think that a British band would see the release happen in Australia first. So I thought that in itself made it a pretty cool collectible. And for those of you who are interested in Black Sabbath and would want to buy this on vinyl, I really highly recommend to search this out on the Fontana label. Second up is a Black Sabbath, their second album, Paranoid. I love all the Sabbath albums. There's not one album that I don't like. I have them all. I have most of them now on vinyl. There's only a couple that I need to find from the original releases. This one is a sweet release. It's a UK Vertigo, but it's not the swirl, it's actually a spaceship. Oh, it's actually a spaceship label. Let's see here. When Black Sabbath was transferring record labels, the release obviously started with the black and white Vertigo swirl. Before they went to the WWA label, I believe, the black label with the WWA shooting up at the top. This was the kind of like the interim label before they transferred over. So I don't know how many of these were pressed. There are people that have said they've never even seen a Paranoid on this label. It's in pretty near mint condition. It sounds fantastic. It sounds the best I've ever heard this album, which I guess only supports the people that say that the only way to listen to Black Sabbath is to really hunt down those original UK pressings. And this also has the gatefold. This is also a very thin jacket. I mean, it's just in, considering the age of this record, it's just in fantastic condition. It is the, not sure if you can see that gloss. It's the laminated sleeve. There you go. Sounds incredible. Very happy to have this. And the last thing I wanted to, this video is going on a little longer than I wanted to, but the last thing I wanted to show everyone, there's been a couple of videos already now on YouTube about the Kiss Casablanca Singles Collection. This box set is the 45s, the original 45, well not the original, but the re-release of the 45s. You can see there, 1974 to 1982. It's a beautiful die-cut box, and there's a little magnet flap here. When you open it up, you have all the 45s, and there's a book in there. I'll just pull out one randomly, see which one comes out. And this is the Love Gun 45 here. And it's really cool. I mean, they went to a lot of effort to get everything as it was originally released, the labels there, and they sound good. They sound really good. I believe they released this box in 45 format and CD. And it was, for me, it was a real toss-up of which one to get. And when this box set was first being promoted, the initial, I think the initial promotion said that you could only buy it online through a Universal website. And when I first looked at it, I thought it was really expensive. The shipping was crazy, the amount it would have cost me to ship it to Montreal. So I kind of said forget it. And then Amazon had the CD box set, and it wasn't that expensive, and it would have been free shipping, so I was going to buy it on CD, and they canceled my order because they had run out of stock. Like, this was maybe 2 weeks before Christmas, so I was a little bummed out, and you know, didn't think I would ever get my hands on a box without paying a lot of money for it on eBay, possibly from a reseller. And then one day, I think like a week before Christmas, I was going through HMV, looking at their records, the vinyl section there, and when I passed through the Kiss section, they had one box, and when I approached it, I knew it couldn't have been the CD because it was so big. And I spoke to the manager and asked if he had expected to get any more, and he said no. This was, they couldn't believe they got one. They had the CD box in order, which wasn't even in that day. All they had was this. So I grabbed it, and I'm happy I did, because I think it's only going to go up in value. It's going to be hard to find. And to see how delicate the box is, I'm happy I didn't ship this, because you know, you don't want to take a chance on anything getting broken. You can actually see this is kind of like a 3D effect, where the lettering is raised, and you can stick my finger in there and you can see that this could easily be ripped. So I was happy to get it, and it sounds great. it sounds great. And being a huge Kiss fan, it's definitely something that I'm happy about that is currently in my collection. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this video. If there's anything you want to contact me about, questions about some of the items that I've showed, please feel free to email me or subscribe to my channel. I know I'm new to this, but I really, really dig what you guys are doing online, and I just want to do my part and become a part of it. So I'll be posting other videos as time goes on, and I hope that you enjoy, and check back once in a while. Alright? Have a good weekend, everyone, and keep spinning those records. Bye.